Welcome back, guys, to the AoT Chronicles, an Attack on Titan podcast. I'm your host, Chaz.
Hey, everyone. My name's Ronnie.
And boy, oh boy, do we got a good one here today.
Week 2.
Week 2, we got some good info on this one.
Back at it again. We're going to go through this. Before, go ahead and give us the episode title.
Okay. Season 4, Episode 2, or Episode 61, Midnight Train.
Interesting, right? Because
we had a Midnight Sun.
Yep, and now we're at the Midnight Train. Chadley, before we get into this episode tonight, we have some business to take care of.
We do. We need to discuss this.
So, I think we grossly underestimated how many new people would be finding the podcast at the start of Season 4. Turns out, when a show's actually airing, more people are interested. That was an oversight by us.
Yeah, pretty good observation by you.
So, due to that, I think we got a lot of people that kind of made their way into our little, I don't even know what you call this, but...
Our cult. We'll call it a cult.
It can be called many things. A train wreck, some might say.
Yeah.
We're not as organized as a cult, so I think it's...
A cunt fest, I think others would say.
Well, speaking of that, so I want to tell the new listeners a little bit about the podcast, give them a little background, because last time I think we were so excited that Season 4 was back, we kind of just dove into it. And to do this, we actually received a great Apple Podcast review that I would like to kind of dissect, because I thought that they brought up some great points that could help us make our points to the listeners.
And just make our podcast better in general.
For sure. So to begin with, by the way, I'm not out here to, criticize anyone. This person shall remain nameless.
Okay.
There's some sort of glitch in my Apple Podcast app that I can't actually see the full title of each review. So all I can see is... And honestly, I gotta say, I think this person summed it up perfectly in this cutoff title. If you're interested in two bro, and that's all we got.
Yeah, that's all we could see. I mean, we could maybe... I don't know if we could, log in and somehow see the rest of it. I don't think so.
Right. This right here.
Great title.
First step of the podcast. We're lazy. We had a whole week to log in somewhere and see if we could see the rest of this title. We did not. So I don't know... If she was saying if you're interested in two bros who really dissect the episodes, really know what they're talking about.
Beautiful words.
But we don't know.
Yeah.
So let's move on. So as far as stars go, it could be better, but I will say it could be worse. Thank you to this person. Two stars.
Wow. Okay. Thank you. I wholeheartedly love that you gave us 2 stars and not 1. I really appreciate that.
We sucked, but we could have been...
Multi-stars. We could have been multiple stars.
Yeah, we could have been worse. So I appreciate that. So let's go and break this down. I was looking for a good podcast to listen to side by side of watching the final season. Okay, so sorry that you found ours.
Yeah, you messed up clicking on ours.
There's a lot of podcasts out there, and the fact that you stumbled upon ours, we would just like to start off by saying sorry. Within first 10 minutes, I was disappointed. Okay.
That's a record.
Yeah, honestly, record is in, I can't believe she made it that long.
She listened 10 minutes. That's all we can ask for from our listeners.
Yeah, because if you go back through our other episodes, we can certainly get slogged down at the beginning of a podcast. Some might say, like this one.
Normally people, they listen to about 30 seconds of it, they get tired of it, they don't even leave a review. Right. I respect the fact that she did this.
I do too. These guys obviously aren't going over this information prior to recording. Well, what do you say about that?
Well... I mean, she's not exactly wrong.
We do have a quick turnaround, and some people might not like that. We don't, we're not diving in on Reddit and stuff like that. We watched the episode twice. We didn't really want to talk about it because we wanted our reactions to be genuine. We wanted it to be fresh.
Yeah, and I'm not really looking at 2chan or any,
Whoa,
forums.
All right. I think that's the wrong website, but okay. They are not familiar with the manga, and if they are, it's very unfortunate that they give no indication of that based on them guessing what's going on. Well, you're right.
Yeah, you're totally right on it. You hit the nail on the head.
So this is actually a very good point. For the new listeners, we have not read the mangas. We are not...
No, we're anime onlys.
Now get this, we completely respect the mangas. We know that is the true form of the story.
Yeah.
We welcome any manga readers. And honestly,
don't spoil us, but we love feedback from manga readers.
Don't be a jerk. Don't spoil us. We'd love to hear feedback. If we get something wrong that you picked up on, please let us know. We'll be happy to correct it. We already have some fellow manga, well, not fellow because we haven't read the mangas. We have some very nice manga readers who are holding our hands through this journey.
Trust me, we need it.
We like to think of this podcast as, if you're a manga reader, we're some of your friends who you're so excited to show this to. We've never seen it before, and you're sitting there and you're just watching our reactions to see what we're going to think about it. I think that's always fun. I've done that with plenty of friends. And if you're an anime-only watcher, then you're just along for the ride. We're right there with you.
Exactly.
So, okay, yeah, this is where things kind of start going downhill here. It was very uncomfortable hearing them call one of the new characters a cunt.
Who could that be?
You want to... I think that...
Okay, yeah.
I feel like that's
I've wanted to talk about this, yes. I love this feedback. This person, I full-heartedly appreciate it.
Right.
And I totally agree. I will not be saying the word cunt anymore.
So you're just done.
I'm so done. That was such a cunt move on my part. I can wholeheartedly agree. Ronnie...
Well, here, let me give the new listeners kind of a bit of a history on the word cunt on our podcast. You used to say cunt a ton. And
I did.
You saw the error in your ways, and so you stopped for a while. That is saying the word cunt, in case you forgot what we were talking about.
Yeah.
And then we received some feedback, actually, from one of our dear listeners, Catherine, who said she wanted the cunt talk back. And that was the first time... after that email was season 4, episode 1, and so you brought the cunt back. Perhaps, maybe don't say it to a 11-year-old girl, 12-year-old girl.
I think she's a little older than 11, maybe 12 or 13. But yeah, listen, you know what? I agree with that. I think I was a little tough on Gabby.
I want to defend you though a bit here. Okay? If you're one of these people, all right, that can watch this show. Now this show, although it is animated, we've seen little children running in the battlefield of war with machine guns being shot at them, playing with explosives, throwing dynamite, throwing grenades.
The first episode, we saw a giant boulder crushed on top of a child.
We've seen men put swords in other men's mouths. Yep. We've seen people's heads being bitten off.
Mike be ripped in half.
We've seen Aaron swimming in a vat of stomach guts with loose body parts hanging and people...
with a child crying for her mom.
Yeah, so if you're one of those people that's going to clutch their pearls at the use of the word cunt, maybe we're not the podcast for you.
Yeah, and...
I see where you're coming from. You're...
Hopefully your kind will see this review and not click on our podcast.
I'm saying that your reaction... I'm not saying that it's not warranted, but let's be honest, you're being a little bit of a cunt.
A little bit, and I do agree, though, we will not say the C-U-N-T cunt word anymore on this podcast.
Right. So she goes on. She can stand crude jokes, but this one had no bearing on the character.
Yeah, because Gabby was totally not acting like one. She wasn't a full stuck-up,
she definitely wasn't acting like she was better than anyone.
Yeah.
She did not say anything along the lines of, listen, I know you have 800 other soldiers, but if you want to let them all die so you can keep me, I completely understand. Because if she had done something like that, someone could maybe...
call her a cunt.
Right. Yes. It was like one of the speakers was being crass for jokes, and from that point, it got worse.
Got worse. Okay, so maybe she did listen to more than 10 minutes.
So yeah, that would seem to... Well, she didn't say that she stopped listening in 10 minutes. She was just disappointed within 10 minutes. Oh, okay. So maybe she hate listened, so, kind of get your fucking act together over
I
there.
like that, though, when you hate listen.
You moron.
Definitely not a cunt move.
We're almost done for all those new listeners that are clicking off. We're so sorry that we've spent the first 10 minutes not talking about the episode. We just really wanted you guys to get a good feel for what we do around here. She said, you guys need to immerse yourself in the information you are... Chad, not that kind of immerse. Please pull your pants back up. Please, yeah,
They're back.
Just
Sorry.
different kind of immerse.
If I had a manga,
We're
book
immersing ourselves in the information.
Oh, trust me, I will. From now
Although
on, I will
sometimes-
be swimming through this dialogue.
Yeah, sometimes we do like to strap it on though, and you need to immerse yourself in the information you're speaking about, or just record this for your own enjoyment. So, just for all those ad reads we do later.
Yeah.
That we probably shouldn't do those because we should probably be recording it for our own enjoyment.
Our own enjoyment, yeah, because we're not doing this for our enjoyment, right?
Right, we're making a ton of money. We definitely
all the donations. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yes. Are we coming off as unlikable?
I would say not.
I would say probably so, and we probably missed out on a couple more listeners.
I think people are saying that we're just a couple positive guys ready to immerse ourselves in this dialogue.
Here's my final words. We're very aware of what we are. In no way do we claim to be experts on this show.
No.
We know that there are so many more people who are catching so many more things, who know the base material so much more. We're just doing this for fun. We want to build a nice community. We love the show. We're so excited for the final season.
Yeah, I mean, we're doing this because we love the show.
And our tagline has always been, we're just two assholes that bought microphones from Amazon. That's where we started, and since then, we've made a minor increase. We bought $800 microphones, and we're just all in because we're loving having fun doing this podcast.
Yep.
And making some new friends.
I've only spent about $2,000 since we've started this thing. So
now, with that being said, Chad, I say we get this show on the road.
Let's do it. I'll start us off. I'm going to full-heartedly swan dive through this information.
Immerse yourself, baby.
All right, so we're going to go into the council room.
Actually, I want to start with my general thoughts. Okay. I really liked this episode. I appreciate that that they believe in their audience enough, because I feel like a lesser show would think they needed to show us the main characters, our normal group, to keep us intrigued, entertained. Whereas they're just going for it. They're like, no, we're putting those characters to the side. Here's just these new characters. Get to know them. And I'm really enjoying the new characters.
I'll be honest. I have not missed the main characters that much.
No.
I enjoy this whole... I mean, we know this is an entire different world, basically, and we need to learn about it.
Yeah, I completely agree.
So, that being said, we're going to start out in the council room. We've got Marley generals, and we've got Zeke there. He's the war chief, so we have him sitting with all of them, and they start talking about how both of the Titans, their main lead Titans, were almost nearly shredded.
Yeah, they called them the two main battle Titans.
Yeah, which that would be Zeke and Reiner, right?
Yeah, that's kind of what we assumed, since they were jumping out of helicopter/airplanes. I guess it was an airplane.
Yeah, and they almost got hit by the battleships. We know
and
that.
Reiner did get wrecked pretty hard.
Well,
protecting Zeke.
Galliard, he seemed like a main attack Titan as well.
Yeah, that's why we kind of had to pause there for a second, because I think the other two were relatively effective as well.
Yeah.
But I could see where...
Galliard's a monster. He's like my Titan. New favorite Titan.
Yeah, he's pretty sick.
Yeah. And he wasn't even really touched, I don't think. But yeah, they start talking about the Mid-East forces, which was who they just fought in the war. And they're talking about how this doesn't really sound like a Marley victory.
Yeah, this guy reading the newspaper, he's kind of the leader of the room. This guy has such an aggressive bang swoop. Like, he's pretty long hair, but yet you can see 79% of his ginormous forehead. It's just a very interesting way to style the hair.
Yeah. And then we have Maggot sitting beside him as well.
Maggot looks kind of suave outside of his... He's kind of a big burly man. I didn't really catch that from last episode, but...
Then Maggot, he speaks up, and he starts talking about how humanity is... they're starting to eclipse the Titan powers. They're kind of taking over.
Yeah, once again, like we talked about last episode, we saw some of those, the new weapons, the new cannons, and people are just figuring out how to take down these Titans, and it's getting to the point where I mean, can you imagine the stupid Titans that aren't one of the 9 out? They would just be shredded. Like, and
they wouldn't even stand a chance.
It's getting to the point now where even the 9, like, they can't dominate anymore.
For new listeners, anybody that's new listening to this podcast, yes, we know his name is Magath, but anytime a moron has a name that's as close to something, like, say, maggot.
Or sometimes just not even close at all.
Or sometimes not even close at all, you're right. We're going to call him that name. Maggot starts talking about how the Titans remain unrivaled on land, but with human war advancement, bombs will soon just rain upon them, and it doesn't matter. So, he even says the devils of the earth will just watch as it happens. He had to throw that in there.
Yeah.
I mean, this scumbag had to just... he needed to say devils at least once.
There's a lot of devil talk this episode.
Yeah. And then one of the generals asks, do we not have any Titans with wings?
Whoa.
Hey, buddy. What does that mean?
Yeah, that's just...
I wanted to ask you about this, Ronnie, because we don't talk about this information like our reviewer had said before.
Listen, I feel like... No, as of right now, there are no Titans with wings. But he put that in my head, and now I can't stop thinking about it. I feel like Armin is somewhere over on the island of Paradise, drawing up some blueprints, and we're just going to see Aaron just swoop in.
Or Armin has wings somehow. He's 60 meters with wings.
He's just the largest wings you've ever saw. He's just straight-up jetliner. Just...
Is this guy implying that they've had a Titan with wings in the past? I mean, why else would he say that?
I feel like he meant it more in like a joking way, like, like we better figure something out because, we don't, it's not like these Titans can fly.
Like he hasn't seen the Titans before.
Yeah.
Okay, then we got the general admitting in the future that they will lose if this keeps up. Zeke then asks for permission to speak. And we all know when an Eldian asks for permission to speak, most of the time, it's not going to happen.
I feel like now is a great time to say and call you out on your bullshit.
Oh, wow.
For the new listeners, Chad has he's always been kind of an elitist, and he thought he was so special. He would come in here with his notebook paper, and he had written out all of his notes. Now he's finally got a laptop. And go back, listen to the tape from last episode. He said, "Oh yes, I just this week I forgot my notebook.
Like
this week this is what you sound like, Chess. This week I forgot my notebook, but next week I'll be right back to the notebook paper." Well, guess what I'm staring across at the table at? Oh, it's a laptop. Not a piece of paper in sight.
For new listeners, I think our old listeners know this, but I work 60 hours a week, part-time at Trader Joe's.
God.
When you put in hard work, you got to just spend it on some new technology. It's always my motto.
What's your other job? Because if you work 60 hours a week at Trader Joe's, that's no longer considered part-time.
40 hours digging trenches and things like that for construction.
Yeah.
And then 20 hours at Trader Joe's.
Don't listen to his bullshit. Please get on with the episode.
All right.
As you scroll down on the screen.
So they give Zeke permission to speak. And he says we should resume the Paradise Island mission and recover the founding Titan because Marley needs better weapons. And if we do that, in the meantime, they can work on getting better weapons and we can get the fossil fuels on Paradise to make the better weapons.
Yeah, right. He needs the better weapons. The founding Titan's the main thing. It's interesting throughout this episode to see truly how low of a rank Zeke still is. The past seasons when we've seen him, it's obvious that he's very much in charge of like the other warriors.
Yeah, it was, I mean, in season 2 when I first saw him, I was like, oh, this guy is the main boss of everyone.
But you can see here where honorary Marleyan means, sure, we'll let you in on the council meetings. We realize how big of a piece you are to the puzzle, but you still got to ask for permission to speak, and we're definitely not forgetting that you're an Eldian, buddy.
What's stopping... Obviously, these people have been brainwashed and everything, but what is stopping him from just cutting himself right now and killing everyone in the room?
It's just the fear. Okay. I mean, as we see later, like his grandparents, who we can get into once again a little bit later, they are all for him doing this. They're proud of him fighting for Marley. It's just, like you said, they're brainwashed. And
this guy is fully bought in.
Yeah.
Zeke is.
And they're just...
I mean, he literally screamed multiple of his own Eldian people into Titans out of an airplane. He is so bought into this, it's unbelievable.
Definitely.
But they mentioned that Zeke has 1 year left, and he says he's afraid that when Colt inherits his Titan, he won't be able to fully wield his powers.
So this is awesome. We got to get into this. This is kind of what I mentioned last episode, where I was talking about the Beast Titan scream that, basically transformed one way or another all the people flying out the plane.
Yep.
I wondered if it had something to do with royal blood, and I feel like this is kind of a hint to that sort of thing. Like, we know Eren can't fully do all the founding Titan things because he doesn't have royal blood. Krista does. I think this is just another example of that.
Do you think that if, say, the Colossal Titan had royal blood, he'd be able to do that? Or is that just a Beast Titan maneuver?
Making Titans, you mean?
Yep.
Because once again, we don't know how this stuff goes. We got to go back. Once again, Chaz, you're a moron.
I'm a moron.
We got some more feedback. You made us talk about it for 5 minutes, and you made our dear listeners
maybe you should catch on, and we won't have to talk about it.
Go and dig through the episodes for like 8 times because you had some sort of Titan serum strapped to these people jumping out of airplanes.
Can I explain myself?
Didn't exist.
Can I explain myself?
Yes, you told me your terrible excuse.
I know.
Go ahead.
It wasn't on the airplanes. It was in the trenches, and I assumed that it was bombs strapped to these 800 Eldians that were going to run up because they did have stuff strapped to their chest, and I messed up. I apologize to the listeners. I really need to just immerse myself in this information.
Please immerse yourself. But yeah, anytime that Chad makes a terrible mistake like that, I probably won't make a mistake. Just kidding. I will make mistakes.
I mean,
please,
you've made many.
Email
probably 2 times as much.
Email us at thepodcastchronicles@gmail.com. We would love to. We have a great bond between the two of us. We don't really get on to each other very often. I've told you the mics don't work well when you do that sort of thing. We will be happy to admit our wrongness and confirm it later on. Thank you to Catherine for that.
Thank you, Catherine. You're the MVP. So is Paris. So is Raphael. Our 3 first responders.
That kind of means that you can't have a most valuable player if there's 3 of them. So,
one of them's offense, one of them's defense, and one of them's all around.
So quit sucking their dicks and let's get on to it.
So I wanted to get to my theory real quick. That you did not let me get to.
You're just disrespecting them.
This is what I thought of, Ronnie.
They're all great.
Since nothing was strapped to him on the airplane, I believe that Zeke, they had already injected him. They turned into Titans. He turned them back into humans, but when he does that, they don't have a mind. That's why they all looked stupid in the plane. Yes. And then he turned them back into Titans.
I'm more obligated to believe that. Catherine also in her email wanted to make sure and point out, if you look at those people on the planes as they're falling out of the planes, they've got kind of a Titan look to them. They don't look quite right, so I'm definitely more obligated to believe what you're saying.
Which makes more sense because if he could just scream any Eldian into a Titan, he could have, when Erwin and them charged at him, he could have just screamed and turned all of them into Titans.
Exactly.
Okay. So we got that out of the way.
Obviously, there's still more to learn about it. We'll be on the lookout.
And I'll probably catch on to it before Ronnie. So, Zeke then says that he needs to put an end to Grisha Yeager's sick exploits, and it should be by none other than his own son. This guy does not like his poppy.
Which is just crazy. He was so young when all this happened, so
Daddy
it's just
issues.
Clearly just like... Brainwashing. His grandparents, just the Marley, citizens. Yep. It's like there's no reason that he should hate him that much. Because he didn't know anything. He knew what he stood for, and he's just building up on that.
If he was 6, man, obviously he could be terrified. That's why he told on his parents, but they just kept feeding that into his brain when he got older. There's no way he thought of all this at 6 years old. And then we get into the OP, and I feel like the OP changed a little bit. Did you not see some different, visuals?
Yeah, you'd kind of mentioned that. I'm going to really grind on the middle of the fence because I don't want to say yes or no. I'll let you I'll let you be right if you're
Do you
right,
not
and
trust me?
I'll let you be wrong if you're wrong.
Wani doesn't trust me.
But yeah, maybe. My heart.
I think they showed a little more visual. I feel like last one it was all smoke and gray. This one it seemed like there was some actual visuals.
To me, it's just so funny how much of nothing in the grand scheme of things they give you, or at least that's what it seems like right now. I reserve. What the fuck was that?
Whoa! Did you just say the F word on this podcast?
Did you just do that again? What are you smelling? That was that one. Okay, wait. That was not your right armpit because you smelled your right fingers. What happened?
I mean, I could reach my own right armpit with my right fingers. I'm not a Neanderthal, dude. I can reach under there.
Well, Neanderthals could do that.
Well, yeah, you're right. Sorry.
What happened?
I get sweaty in this room, dude. I told you. This room just makes me sweaty. I'm wearing a long sleeve t-shirt, which my fault. I felt the water under my armpits and I smelled it like any normal guy would do. And if you're a guy listening to this, yes, you do the same thing.
Your body odor, you really struggle with that.
It smells good. I've got deodorant on. It's just very wet.
Okay.
All
right.
So
now we're to the scene with Zeke and Colt. Okay.
Yeah. They're up by themselves, and Colt is just amazed that Marley listens to Zeke. So Zeke is obviously, though, the way Colt's talking, Zeke has more respect from any Marleyan than, any other Eldian does.
Right. Even potentially in the past. This isn't even,
This isn't normal whatsoever.
Zeke's a smoker.
Yeah, he's smoking them cigs. I mean, I guess his lungs can just regen, so it doesn't really matter.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. I would be smoking away, man, if I had these Titan powers.
We know how you feel about nicotine, so you'd be all up on that.
I bought a vape this weekend.
Chaz. Dude.
I did. I had small relapse, but
I feel like you were past the 3 weeks where people say once you get over the 3 weeks, it's easy. What happened?
I don't think people say that, but I just had to. I needed it. I just needed it this weekend. I was drinking, and I'm done. I threw it away. I already threw it away.
Well, if anyone listened to the season 4 preview, good thing you were not drinking tonight.
Yeah, good point. I never need to drink on this podcast again. Let's continue with the episode and immerse ourselves in this information. So after Colt's amazed that Marley's listening to him,
nicotine sweats. That's what's going on over there.
Colt even says that Zeke reminds him of the founding Titan, and he says it's almost like you have royal blood in you or something. This amazed me right here.
Right.
I had no clue that the way Colt's talking, no one knows that Zeke has royal blood.
Yeah. But because
then Zeke says, when you inherit my memories, you'll find out my big secret.
Yeah, because they made it clear that the owl kind of just let Grisha's group knew that Dinah had royal blood. She was the last one with royal blood. So, yeah. Now, the thing that I found interesting was the fact that the Marleyans even knew that having royal blood mattered, and I'm wondering if that has something to do. I'm sure that's kind of all over in the Titan memories. I guess all the Titans probably have some sort of recollection of that. They just didn't know that Zeke had royal blood.
Well, because, too, the owl said that he let them inject Dinah because he didn't want Zeke to tell them the whole truth.
Right.
So he made it seem like Zeke knew that he had royal blood.
Well, I'm sure that... Because, we saw how quick Grisha was building this kid up even at 4 years old when he was still pooping his pants. So I'm sure Grisha told him, oh, you've got royal blood, you're going to be our king, blah,
you're
blah, blah,
blah, blah,
blah, blah.
Hero, bud.
Yeah, so I wasn't surprised at all that Zeke knew it, more just kind of Marley as a whole.
Forfeit your entire life and save us from disgrace.
Exactly.
God, what an asshole. You almost can't blame Zeke for being like this. And then Zeke was like, yeah, his big secret is how he wipes his ass. Okay, I want in on this. Where can I get these memories?
Yeah.
I would love to know how to wipe my ass as well as Zeke Yeager.
You a stander or a sitter?
I'm a stander, man.
You're a stander?
Yeah.
Excellent. Yes, I'm definitely a stander. You just can't get good friction if you're...
No, and if you're a sitter, whatever, but
What, your knuckles touching the water, just ugh.
Dude.
Just stop being so lazy.
Stand up and wipe it. You know, if you have to hike a leg, I think that's Zeke's secret. He hikes a leg when he stands up.
Hikes a leg when he stands up, so you can't just twist. He
hikes it, man. I need his memories, man. Let me inherit this Beast Titan, and I'll let you know. So Maggot then walks up and interrupts them. And what does he say? He says something along the lines of...
wanting to see the hairs on Colt's ass.
Yeah, and I was like, that's kind of weird.
Kind of creepy.
I didn't see Maggot being this type of guy.
I mean, I'll be honest, I hadn't really immersed myself in the episode at this point, so I'd only got part of that quote, but I'm pretty sure he was just like, hey, pull your pants down, Colt, let me see the hair on your ass. I was like, whoa, okay.
He's like, there's no secrets up in here.
Jeez, Maggot.
So they don't like them talking.
Did he say there's no secrets up in here as he was peering into his asshole? Is that?
Yeah. He said, there's no secrets up in here. Everything looks nice and clean.
I was clearly immersed at that point. I don't know what I was doing.
Maggot mentions the past 3 years that every ship that they sent to Paradise hasn't returned. That's a big info dump right there because that's pretty crazy.
That's pretty crazy. What were they doing? Let's be honest. Let's think about this for a second. That seems like such a stupid idea. Like,
yeah,
and it's not even making it seem like they sent 32 all at one time to try and retake it just with straight up military power, and it didn't work because it didn't seem like the Titans went, right?
It doesn't. I mean, no, because if they went and the ships didn't return, how would they get back?
Right. But yeah, to me, it's like if you send over 5 ships, they don't come back. You're like, well, let's try it again.
Yeah. It's like or maybe they did send out like 15 at one time, 17 the other, and then they were just like, all right, no more ships.
No more ships. Yeah, maybe so. But yeah, so it seems as if...
Well, yeah, because Zeke then says 32 ships sunk. And he's like, it has to be multiple Titans, Errand and another one. And then it made me think, wow, they don't even know that they had the injection to get the Colossal Titan. They have no idea that they stole the Colossal Titan's powers. They thought they just killed Bertolt, maybe.
No, I think Zeke knew what was going on there. Okay. Because Zeke says, remember, he says, Bert, I'm pretty sure this is the end for you. I feel like he knew what was going to happen.
Okay, maybe he does.
Because they've talked multiple times about how they gave up the Colossal Titan and the female Titan. Now, the interesting thing that I heard him say was at least 2, meaning that he's thinking like I'm thinking, and for all he knows, Annie's already been swallowed, dealt with, and they've got the female Titan too.
Yeah, that's a great point. Or maybe he's thinking they converted her. Like, I mean, you never know.
It could be, yeah.
Which no, he's probably not thinking that because as tough as Annie is, he's like she wouldn't flip.
Right. I don't think she would flip. That is another thing though that I hadn't considered. Even though I feel like surely they can get their hands on it at some point, is if they have another injection to where they could. Or
what else they could do? They could just feed Annie to one of the randoms that was running around on the island.
Right,
but they've already killed them all off.
Yeah, they kind of killed them all off, and obviously
because that would actually be super interesting. Aaron knows that all of those people are patriots. They're random Titans running around. If he just threw Annie to them, they would be on their side no matter what.
That's true.
Plus, do you have to be a female to get Annie's
I was going to bring this up. All we've ever heard it called is the female Titan. It would, like, if, say, I would go out there and I eat it, am I still just called the female Titan? It's like, hey, buddy, you just got to roll.
Chick.
or is it just, well, that's the male Titan. It's either way you look at it, it's a very shit. It's worse than Cart Titan because it's just like, oh, this one's a girl. We'll just call it female Titan.
It's like Isayama just fucked up in the writing on this part. He's like, I guess we'll just have her turn into a crystal ball so we don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, it's just, come on. It's 2020. Girl power. Let her become something cool, not just female Titan.
So, Zeke then says, though, this is the very interesting part, which I loved. He's like, it's not just Titans that pose a threat to us on that island. And we get quick glimpses of Levi and Mikasa fucking up him and Reiner, and then Reiner, PTSD Reiner, wakes up from his dream of Mikasa blowing him out with a missile.
Yeah, I really liked that transition, really liked the kind of the flashback that even Zeke, after his little run-in with Levi, he understands how big of a force to be reckoned with he is. But from the sounds of it, we can kind of get an idea of maybe what to expect on Paradise when we get back over there, because if they're sinking these ships, that means there's been some serious expansion over there on the island, that they've got some sort of weaponry significant enough to destroy those ships right on the where they would dock.
I'm sure Zeke's thinking too, I hope to God Eren doesn't know how to use this founding titan and he's just fucking these ships up.
Yeah. Because
if Eren learns how to use it, I'm sure he's thinking we're pretty screwed.
Yeah, that's true too, that he could just be the Titans, but it has been 4 years, and they know now, so I don't think it's like those 100 years when they just rolled with the one cannon for a century. I think they've been doing some serious upgrades.
These are fixed cannons.
And I bet they've been, maybe dipping into those fossil fuels underneath the city, and they've got some stuff.
That's a good point. I didn't even think about that. Since Eren has all the memories and knows that they're after the fossil fuels.
For sure.
So Reiner wakes up, and, from that flash, and he's with Galliard, who ends up being Marcel's brother.
Yeah, Galliard, let's be honest, he's a hunk. He looks as if he has 17 million followers on TikTok. Am I wrong?
Yeah, he looks like he would be promoting a boxing match, a YouTubing boxing match here soon.
No, he's not that big. He's just got 17 million followers on TikTok because he's a hot piece of dick. And he does the same. He may even have an OnlyFans. He does the same dance to the same song at least 8 times a week, just wearing different clothings, and maybe
with 2 million.
He's got a different friend, and
is it likes, retweets on TikTok? I don't even know.
He's getting at least 11 million likes on each one, and he also lives in a house with 17 other men who just dance together. It's awesome.
Reiner thanks Galliard for saving him back in that, the last little scuffle they had. And Galliard's like, don't mention it. He's like, if I inherited the Armored Titan 9 years ago, this would have never happened. And my brother Marcel wouldn't be dead. And he seems like he's a little pissed at Reiner, honestly.
Right. So break this down real quick, because there was something here that I hadn't... You really immersed yourself, so... I
really immersed myself in this information.
So obviously manga readers are all over this. Anime readers, or anime watchers, I think, could use a bit more of a deep dive on this one.
I'll go deep on it. So Galliard says Ymir's memories... he saw Reiner in Ymir's memories, and he saw that he was acting tough. And he says... what does he call her? A pitiful-looking woman... She was an impressive woman for looking like such a pitiful looking shit or something like that.
No, not looking like, just like a basically badass name for a pitiful person.
Yeah, badass. That's what I meant. Badass name for a pitiful person.
That's not what he said. He said something.
Fritz.
He said something more poetic, but
yeah,
the fact that her name was Ymir, named after like the first founding titan.
And then he talks about he's glad that they got his brother's jaw back from when he ate Ymir. So we'll talk about this right here. This is what happened. Marcel saves Reiner. Ymir scoops him up, eats him as a pure titan. She then turns into her body, Ymir, her human form. So now she's a shifter with the jaws. Later on, when Bert and Reiner take Ymir back, Galliard eats her. He turns into a pure titan, eats her, and now he has the jaw power back.
Right. So yeah. I think the part that I had missed, because they had never shown it to us, was just, and it's very weird, the idea that we never knew that Marcel had a Titan outside of the fact that he was just with Reiner and Bert. And she essentially looks the very same as just her normal stupid Titan to when she has the Jaw Titan. Like, it is a very small difference.
Very small difference. If you go back to season 2, the only difference you notice is she gets bigger teeth and she gets the big claws that the Jaw Titan has.
And so, first of all, she really got the raw end
Yeah.
of the deal on that one. Everyone else we've seen is just so like we saw Aaron's what he looks like kind of before he got Gracious Titan.
But I wanted to mention this. I could be way off on this, but I want to talk about it. We haven't talked much about it. Paths. They talked about paths at the end of season 3. We know that the paths are in season 2 when Ymir wakes up and she's in the sand, butt-ass naked. She sees the paths in the sky. It looks like a Milky Way galaxy. What do you call it? The Alaska.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, the lights.
Milky Way galaxy. Yeah, sure.
And it could be somehow that those paths, her pure Titan, she looked very similar to what the Jaw Titan she received because she was connected to those paths. And it was meant for her to eat Marcel and get those powers. This could be, that's just a baseless theory that I'm just throwing out there.
I'm not exactly sure what you're talking about. It makes me feel kind of dumb, so therefore I hate the theory, but maybe someone else out there likes it.
I have to say something about the past. I feel like her waking up and seeing that in the sky has to like be something. I feel like they wouldn't show Ymir with that unless it was important.
Yeah, so it was all just super interesting just to see how like the Jaw Titan last episode when Galliard, transforms compared to Ymir's.
Ymir's is a shitty one. Galliard is a badass Titan, and he might be my favorite looking Titan out of all of them.
All right.
We get Peak walking in, so it is pronounced Peak.
Huh.
Stupid name.
Who had that right?
And
me? Okay.
she talks about how she can barely walk, and she's using a crutch because she was in her Titan form for 2 months.
I mean, yeah, some people have claimed that I'm kind of a master of the English language. Keep going.
Yeah, some people have not said that. And how crazy is that?
No, you're right. You're
just
right.
Gonna stroll over that.
I was gonna say why, but at the same time, it kind of
No, I'm gonna say why.
Well, I think we're supposed to believe that they've been on the battlefield that long. First and foremost,
okay.
We know that the Cart Titan can speak. So therefore, there'd be no reason to, transform out to talk. We obviously saw it in season 3 where it's
strapped on her.
Where it's literally, they're using her as mobility. They've got, barrels and stuff. So I could see where it would just be like, that if they've got all that stuff strapped to her. We saw like the turrets and everything on her. Like, how big of a pain is that to take off and on every time you got to go into a battle? So I
was expecting a dude, to be honest. Were you not?
Yeah, definitely was thinking a dude. But
I mean, looks like she's almost could be next to Kuchel.
What are we
in one of those brothels? If you know what I mean. That's what she looks like.
You saying? Are you going for she's a bit of a slut, or she looks kind of sickly?
Both.
All right.
She's been in a Titan for 2 months, so she doesn't look the greatest.
I'm sure everyone will love you saying that.
I wouldn't say she doesn't look the greatest. She's kind of hot, but she looks like she's been ran through a few times. If you know what I mean.
She looks like someone who likes to take it in the can. I mean, in the can.
For the new listeners, we love you.
There's another 2-star review. Well, we got lucky with the 2 stars. That's a 1-star.
Multi-star review.
Thanks again for the 2.
Can't ask for any more than that.
Appreciate it.
So we get a scene change. Okay, sorry. Let me talk a little bit more about her. She's been in it for 2 months, and she talks about fighting side by side with Galliard, and he's like, "Yeah, I forgot what you looked like in human form," which I thought was kind of funny. But that's about it. We know that they've been fighting together for a while.
Well, not only that, but we know that there's a fancy word for it. When she's a Cart Titan, she moves around on 4 legs, and so she said when she came back in human form, she forgot how to walk on
Which
2
makes
legs.
sense.
Yeah, so she's walking around with a cane and stuff like that. So I thought that was like a really cool detail.
Or she's just been ran through a few times.
Oh my god!
And scene change. We get the warrior candidates talking. We've got
a virgin.
The little shitlings talking.
Whoa, okay.
I'm just kidding. They're not.
You gotta be careful. We like these characters. You gotta be careful with them.
All right. Before we get any further in this, I will say Falco is my favorite new candidate. I actually, after this episode, I like Gabby. I do think the cunt talk last episode might have been a little unwarranted. Maybe not unwarranted, but...
Listen, she was displaying behavior that of a cunt. All right? Don't. What are you doing?
I mean, I know she was, but this episode, I like her more than last episode, is what I'm trying to say.
Quit being a bitch. Own up to it. Jeez. I mean, maybe I spoke out of term there.
I didn't speak out of term. I'm just saying, I like her. No.
I'm sorry. 5 stars, please. Sorry, guys. Please list 5 stars.
She's cute. She's a cute little girl.
Okay. Yep. Yep. You're right.
And Zofia and Udo, they're just there.
Just be careful. Just be real careful is all I'm saying, right?
Well, I called her cute, Ronnie. We know you don't...
just keep on moving, buddy. Keep on moving. Just be careful. She's cute. All right. So, Udo, he's got some anger management, huh?
No, I don't like Udo at all. Reminds me of...
What are you doing?
No, Udo does. They are talking, and Falco does say, listen, Gabby, Reiner's going to be fine. Because Gabby seems real worried about Reiner. Also because, she's a cunt, and all she cares about is getting the armor.
Oh, my God. Udo seems very smart. He's, kind of analyzing things going on around here.
Yeah.
He sees the wounded enemies, and this part kind of confused me. They're getting back on a ship.
I can't believe Marley is kind enough to send them back to their country.
That's what he made it seem like, and that's where I feel like I'm missing. I don't know. I feel like I'm missing something there because he was worried.
They talked about the law of war earlier. It's crazy to me that Marley actually follows the law of war, and it seems like they're sending back wounded. Maybe they did since it's a peace treaty. It's kind of in the
peace treaty. Yeah,
they
that's
send
good
back
point. Good point.
Yeah.
If anyone has any more knowledge on this, or we missed something because we weren't fully immersed, please email it at thepodcastchronicles@gmail.com. Because I understood his concern, but at the same time, I was just a little confused there. But yeah, he starts
he talks about how they're going to talk about how fucked up it was, how they used Eldians for war.
Yeah,
and it's going to make Marley look bad, which it is because it's fucked up.
Because it's slavery.
Yeah. It's even worse than slavery, in my opinion. It's the worst kind of things you could do.
Well, be careful there. Slavery's pretty bad. But no, yeah, he's stomping on a... he's stomping on a stump.
This guy.
What a ridiculous sentence. That's not doing anything.
Stomping on a stump.
He's stomping on a stump. I'm a master of the English language. Please continue, Chaz.
Yeah, he's doing that, and then we got good old Reiner walking up. And Reiner, this is such a wholesome moment, and it makes me think back to the good old Reiner days when he was just the big bro to all the all the younger candidates, or all, say, Aaron and his buddies, but he's patting everybody on the head.
If they weren't already in the Scouts, he was a big brother to everyone, even Bert, who was the same age as him. Maybe Annie was the only one he wasn't a big brother to.
Because she was a badass.
He filled in that role.
Yeah, and he's patting him on the head, and they all look up to this guy. You can tell they all love him. He's the nicest big bro there is. And they start walking away from him, and his PTSD kicks in, I guess you would call it.
What, you think he's got PTSD?
He doesn't seem very well this episode.
I might not have immersed myself in the material enough, but I just did not catch any PTSD. I think this guy's fine.
And as they're walking away, he kind of blinks, and it flashes, and he sees Annie, Bert, Galliard, and Marcel, and he says, "Wait," and he's talking to his old pals, and blinks again, and it's back to Gabby, Udo, and the rest of them.
Once again, just really cool how they're just letting the audience just figure this stuff out by themselves, because we watched it the first time and it went by pretty quick, so I wasn't able to fully get it. And then the second time, we paused and we're like, oh yeah, so that's obviously Galliard, because he looks, like a young version of... He probably only has 5 million TikTok followers right now.
At this point.
He's working his way up. And obviously Marcel, so I liked how they did that.
It also is interesting, we talked about... This is one of the few things we did discuss. Galliard not obtaining a Titan back then... He actually had the chance later on in life to get another Titan, so I was thinking almost that if a candidate did not get that Titan that they were, running for, that, they were either sent off to do something else or they just missed that opportunity completely.
Right. So we can obviously use that in the sense that right now it looks, or they're at least trying to make us feel like Gabby's going to get the Armored Titan. And even if that is the case, some of these other characters could be up for a Titan later on.
Later on, yeah. And they seem like they'll be safe. I almost thought they might even kill them, as ruthless as these people are.
Yeah.
But yeah, they walk away, and then we get to a train scene.
Well, real quick, my quote of the day, it's kind of a joke. It was a throwaway thing right there at the end of the scene. Yeah, Gabby's excited that they can walk around before they go back to their hometown. And we see like overlooking them, and Reiner just goes, "You kids are too young for that store."
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
there's a lot of Titan porn in there. We can't have you guys strolling into
Eldian Titan porn in there.
This interesting world building, I thought.
See, you were focused on that. I had focused.
I know.
While you were saying that, I completely missed that quote because I was looking. They like panned to someone watching them.
I'm right there with you. It looks like someone who is. It seemed intentional for them to be like, "Hey, this person's spying on them."
This person's spying, or it looked like it was almost like Peek. It had the person had long hair, so I was like, "Oh, maybe Peek's watching them," and it's just showing that it's.
And it kind of looks like a woman, black hair, right?
Yeah, it's just long hair. But I was like, maybe this person, Peek, is like kind of. We're getting a little character development on her. She's like looking at him, maybe feeling sorry. I don't know. I didn't know what it was, but then it just went away real quickly, so it might not have been anything.
Oh, okay. How about this? Where are they right now?
They're in. Right now, they're not. They're getting ready to go on a train to go back to Liberio, their hometown.
Okay.
So now they're just like in transportation in Marley.
This is like Marley? You think?
This is Marley, yeah.
And because we don't know how big these countries are, cities are, whatever.
Yeah.
So is Liberio, is that part of Marley, or is that just a completely other thing that Marley's kind of taken over?
Liberio is an internment zone in Marley. It's how I take it.
Okay, so then let me ask you this. Is where they're at right now, is somewhere in this genuine area, is that maybe where, general area, is that maybe where we saw perhaps Jean?
Ooh, maybe.
Could this be, because to me it looked like a black-haired girl, kind of spying. Mikasa? Something like that, maybe?
I don't know if Mikasa would have that long of hair, but that's a good guess.
Well, yeah, she does have short hair now.
Yeah.
We've seen that. Yeah, so you're right. And this is probably nothing, but
I mean, I took it as Peak. I could be wrong, or it could just be a character we haven't met yet.
You're right. It was just very intentional in a strange way to frame the scene.
Because you laughed at me the way I was looking at the screen, thinking
I thought you were laughing at Reiner, but
I was just looking at that.
All right, we'll put a pin into that.
Cool little scene.
Thanks for having my back there.
So we get to the train. So yeah, I guess that was just a port in Marley, and they're getting ready to go on a train because this is obviously a big country. They're getting on a train to go back to Liberio. So Reiner and Falco, or sorry, I'm skipping a scene right here. We've got Drunk Colt.
Yeah, we do.
Colt. This is me on the season 4 preview.
With Hannes gone, we needed another drunk, so thank goodness for Colt.
Colt is on his 5th Truly at this point. He's getting ready to go to his 10th. And he's bragging about Gabby and hoisting her up, talking about her efforts and how she took on the train, that had that cannon on it, and did it in place of 800 Eldians. Did it all by herself.
What do you think of these white outfits?
I mean,
I feel like I just walked into a medical conference.
It's not the prettiest looking things. Like, they could show some skin, if you know what I mean.
Okay. I thought, maybe weird choice, but you went that direction, but that's what you do, so here we go.
But yeah, he's hoisting her up, and did you think maybe since Colt is Falco's brother, he's kind of egging on Gabby so that Falco doesn't get the Armored Titan? He wants Gabby to get it, so Falco doesn't.
There's a lot of this stuff that we're getting ready to break down. Maybe
I was kind of catching on to that. Maybe thinking he doesn't want his little brother to actually get the Armored Titan, so he's kind of insinuating Gabby should get it.
I could buy into that. By the way, they're all chanting Gabby, Gabby, and she's just chanting me.
Yeah. Kind of a C-word move, but
You're not wrong.
And then Maggot, somebody tells Maggot, should we let them be doing this? And he's like, let them have it just for tonight. So Maggot's not that bad of a Marleyan. Have you noticed that? I feel like he's still a scumbag, but I feel like he's a little nicer than the rest of them.
Perhaps.
Because he even let Gabby take off her armband. And this guy's, he's a maggot, but he's a little bit better than I thought.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on him. I'm with you there.
So
I'm not exactly trying to become friends, but...
Yeah, I don't want to be friends with this guy.
I'll give him a chance.
But, we go to Reiner and Falco now.
There you go. I knew you'd get there.
And I was going to make a Holocaust joke, but I thought it wasn't appropriate for the podcast.
You're all about being appropriate, so thanks for not doing that.
So Reiner and Falco are talking, and he says that, Falco goes, the girl that adores you will obtain your Titan and live till she's 27. That is, if cannons don't shred her first.
Sheesh.
Whoa. Falco, this is why I like Falco. He keeps it real.
Yeah, he drops the truth bombs for sure.
Of course, that pisses off Reiner. And he says, you know what, I'm going to report you and have you and your family become Titan weapons. Basically saying pure Titans.
Yikes.
You'll be jumping out of planes with your boy Zeke.
And it was at this point I finally realized Reiner, in my opinion, is officially the sickest looking person in the show. He has overtaken my beloved Keith Sadies.
Has he really?
Yeah, dude, he looks terrible.
Well, he looked amazing in the first episode, I thought. Did he not? He looked healthy when he was parachuting down. I thought he looked pretty healthy. He looked like a badass. Looked like he was maybe going to
he was
Pound
wearing
Town.
Goggles, so you couldn't see the caving caverns.
That's true.
That are his sinking eyeballs or his mussed up hair because he's hasn't slept since he left the walls 4 years ago. And
mind you, he's only got a year or two left on his Titan, so he's aging too.
Right. He's got 8 different parts of his consciousness that are continually fighting each other because he's
Are we sure Keith Sadies he's not a Titan shifter and he's just on his final year?
All I'm saying is he's got a bigger part to play, for sure.
Mr. Keith?
Yeah, we've not seen the last of Keith.
I hope we get
Bucket.
Keith's going to be the Colossal Titan.
Yep.
I'm calling it. Or the Founding.
I think he's 8, Armin, Aaron, and Annie, and he's got 3 Titans in one. How about that?
Oh my gosh. 4. The 8 Aaron.
Yeah, 4. You're right. They put them all in one spot.
And Keith's mission is to go eat everyone else on Marley.
Some people don't keep all your eggs in one basket, but that's what we did because it's Keith goddamn Sadies, and he's the best there ever was.
Every ship that's came to paradise. Okay, so then Falco, that scares the shit out of him, and he says, I, Falco Grice, and this is where I had an epiphany. Grice, is this Grisha's Grice on top of the wall with Grisha?
Yeah, this was a great catch by you. Good work.
The restorationist Grice.
We kind of talked about it. We don't know how much, really is going on, but kind of a cool nod, kind of a cool catch by you.
He's the one that obviously got Grisha into the restorationist group.
Yeah.
And
you said he's the one that kind of brought in Dinah. Like the owl gave him, and he kind of introduced Dinah.
I know that he was the one that visited Grisha's clinic when he was supposed to take it over, and he told Grisha, he's like, look, this is what Marley did to your sister. They fed her to dogs.
Okay.
And he was like, oh, fuck. And he was the one that they kicked off the wall and said, run north, you might make it to the walls, and then all the Titans ran after him and devoured him. Well, maybe.
He's still out there somewhere.
He somehow escaped, and he had Falco later on in life. But we talked about that, though. He obviously couldn't be Falco's dad because timeline wouldn't match up.
Right.
So I don't know. Maybe he's like his grandson. Who fucking knows? It's probably not even a big deal. Sorry if I'm boring you. But yeah, he says he wants to be freed from the evil blood of Ymir and ancestors. And then Falco says he should inherit the armored Titan, and Reiner says, yeah, you have to rescue Gabby from the dark future that awaits us.
All right, so a couple questions. Is Falco saying this because it's what Reiner wants to hear, or deep down does he actually want the Titan?
I think he kind of wants to save Gabby. Falco seems like he cares more about other people than himself, and he doesn't want Gabby to get the armor titan and something bad to happen to her. That's why he said that to Reiner about the cannons.
And does Reiner say he should inherit it because he thinks Falco is the best choice, or he's more concerned with the well-being of Gabby?
More concerned with Gabby, and maybe he thinks Falco has better intentions than Gabby.
Okay.
Because we know how deep Gabby is into this.
All
and
right.
we see later on what Falco says about Reiner. But so they make it back to their hometown, Liberio, and they're all getting off the train, and Gabby is just fired up. This girl is full of energy. She jumps out of... Did you not see her do like the kick jump out of the train?
No, I'm confused. Is this not where the calling card was?
Wow, you were totally right. I tried to take over.
Are you trying to step on my part of the podcast?
I just... Ronnie, I'm going to be honest, man. I feel like I swam through this information and fully immersed myself underwater.
You were so immersed that the calling card was just you. You were like, yes, I am the calling card. Keep going with the episode. By the way, we have no idea what these things are called. Don't know why we call them calling cards. It's just what we call them.
Call of Duty.
No one's
literally from Call of Duty.
No one has said anything yet of like, hey, stop calling them that. So we just keep doing it.
We just keep doing it.
And at this point, we've done 61 episodes, so we're going to keep on doing it.
So basically, the calling card was just the armband talk that we had last episode. I'll do it real quick. Silver armband, you're a normal Eldian. Yellow armband, you are a warrior candidate. And a red armband, you are an honorary Marleyan, and you have one of the 9 Titans, or you're a part of that family that has one of the 9 Titans. Continue on, Ronnie.
Oh, can I do my part of the episode?
Now your turn.
Thank you so much. So yeah.
Immerse yourself.
So they get off the train at their hometown of Liberio.
Talk about the kick jump.
There's a kick jump. It's awesome. Colt is painfully hungover. Probably as hungover as you were after we did the season 4 preview.
Yeah, 3 Trulies. It was incredible.
We kind of learned that Peak got Colt drunk. They're like, who? Because Falco's like, oh my god, who the hell gave him the booze? And Peak was like, well, it seemed like he wanted it, but I just kind of forced it down his throat anyway. She didn't say that, but it was kind of a.
She
funny.
seems like a cool, like, just freelancer.
Yeah. So Falco wants the Eldians to be free of war, and then he wonders if, how about this title right here, if Vice Chief Reiner thinks the same.
Vice Chief Reiner.
So that's interesting, because I could see Reiner. I think he's probably... How could he not? Like, he's so torn. He's got so much PTSD because his brain's so split, because he... Speaking of immersing himself, he did it for 5 years with his little friends. And
so going back to what you were saying about the on the train situation, does Reiner see Falco wanting that more than being maybe less brainwashed than Gabby is?
That's why, if you were to ask me, I think, obviously Gabby, I don't know if we've said this yet, but they're cousins. I think he wants her safe, but I think he thinks that Falco is a good choice because, yes, he's going along with all of this, but he's not so hardcore. Yes, Marleyans are the way. You know, I'm an Eldian. I've got devil blood. He's just more reasonable. Like, he's smart. He hasn't just bought into it. He's not completely brainwashed.
And we haven't got into that yet. For the listeners, we find out later on this episode that Gabby is Reiner's cousin, which I thought was really cool because I had no idea that she was in anything to do with Reiner.
Yeah, so
last episode.
We'll get to that. So they open up basically the prison gates to the internment zones. Kind of freaky. Galliard tells Falco to enjoy the break, but Falco says no, it's back to training tomorrow. And this is when he catches some grief from Gabby because, let's be honest, being a bit of a cunt. She's like, oh, wait, you trying to get your grades up? Not even going to matter. I got this thing in the bag.
I'm the valedictorian.
Yeah, just kind of mean is all. Zeke meets up with his grandparents, who of course is Grisha's just terrible parents.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys.
I hated this man the one episode we saw him and on the episode that day, and now that I see him 20 years old, well, I don't even, whatever the timeline is, he looks even worse. Fuck this guy.
Yeah.
Can't stand him.
I hate him. I hate them.
The grandma, whatever, she just kind of cowers away. She's a woman. I expect that.
Oh my God, Chaz.
I meant an old woman is what I meant.
Your mother's right there. We haven't even talked about her all episode.
God.
She's been very well behaved. Have you guys been doing some drills?
I've got my freaking whip.
Don't throw her a treat like that. She's not a dog, dude. That was pretty impressive.
That was a good catch, though, was it not?
She caught that. That was pretty good.
Good job. Next time you miss, you're getting a lashing.
Oh my God! That's not okay. Anyway, I would try and explain your mother to the new listeners, but there's just not enough time in the world. So, yeah, I don't even know what to say about Zeke's grandparents. They suck. All right. But this is kind of, other than that, it's just a nice homecoming all around. Falco sees some poor soldiers who just, if we thought Reiner had PTSD, these guys have got it bad.
Yikes.
They're completely I don't know how functional Reiner is, but these guys are not at all.
Well, how about Porky? What Porky does to these guys?
Is this Porky?
This is Porky. Because he got hurt in the first episode, and he has the same bandage on his arm.
Yeah,
and he's a fat-looking
good
piggy
to see Porky.
Effer.
It looks like more of a shitbag than ever. He says boom, sending all these guys to the ground. Terrible joke. Seems very mean.
Seems like he should be canceled.
One of these guys has his armband on the wrong arm. For some reason, that broke my heart. I don't. It was I don't know why. I genuinely felt so bad. It was just like this guy had half of his head bandaged. He's trying, man. He's trying so hard to just be a good soldier, and he's just got it on the wrong arm because he's so confused.
Falco's like, holy shit, this guy's got it bad.
I can't.
Oh my God.
I can't explain my feeling. I was just like, oh no.
He's like, you know, this guy's got it rough when he has it on the wrong arm. We're literally taught since we were 2 years old. If you don't have it on this arm, you're getting shipped to paradise. This guy has it on the wrong arm.
I felt sad. I felt embarrassed for him.
It's like the second Falco takes the armband off of that arm, like Marlene's just grab him, the guy without the armband, and send him off.
But no, and Falco's just there to make him try and feel better. He's saying, you're done. Like, you don't have to fight anymore.
Falco is such a nice guy.
You did it. This is just more great character building for Falco.
Yep.
So we join in on a little family dinner with Gabby, who is telling a brutal story about how, she's a little girl. She blew up a train and almost ate machine gun bullets, and everyone else is just thrilled. This is just great news.
Great job. They just start clapping.
They're just like, honey, I'm so proud of you. You're where you're exactly supposed to be. Way to dodge. I always told you to duck and dive, and sounds like you're doing it, little Gabby.
You're doing great for us.
Good work.
We can always rely on our little children.
You're a real hero. Just keep on dodging them, baby. And
I haven't clapped in a while on the podcast. That felt good.
I hate those. If she had an achievement award, it would most certainly be on the fridge, because they're thrilled.
Can't stand this girl. I would not be friends with her if I was at her elementary school.
Yeah, you can see why. See, it's not her fault. That's what we need.
Yeah, it's not her fault that she's a cunt.
It's her terrible parents who are like, oh my God, you're doing great out there. So they ask Reiner if she will become the Armored Titan. And this is just, if you stop to think about this for more than 2 seconds, you realize how fucked up this is. They're asking him if she will become the next Armored Titan. He is, keep in mind, the Armored Titan. And for her to get it, he has to die.
This is his mom, his aunt, and uncle.
And he's like, yeah, she's pretty much got it in the bag, but...
They are so excited that Gabby will eat Reiner.
So excited that her son's going to die. The mom just says, well, that is just good to hear.
That is just wonderful. We love you, kids.
Thank goodness for that. Thrilled. We're going to have 2 Titans.
Oh, my God.
One at a time, but we're going to have 2 in the family as a whole. That's incredible.
This whole Marley situation is just so fucked.
And obviously you were very immersed in the episode, so you brought up the fact that since Reiner obviously has become a warrior, his mom also has a red armband because
she's an honorary Marleyan.
Because due to Reiner, they gained the ability to become honorary Marleyan. And so they start talking about those devils on that island, and they kind of ask Reiner about these devils and his experience on that island.
And this is my quote of the day. Everything Reiner says right here is my
everything
quote of the
Reiner's getting ready to say. Gabby tries to stop the conversation because she almost seems like she knows, like maybe she's asked Reiner about this before, and when he was in a different emotional state, he wasn't so thrilled to get into it. But
now he's in a great emotional state.
He's feeling a little chatty tonight, so we're going to get some stories.
And if for those who don't know, Chaz's QOD is coming up, and it's a segment we've always had on here, and Ronnie, he kind of copycatted me because he's not fully immersed, and he has to just follow along with what I do.
Yeah,
so.
I'll be the first one to admit I definitely copied your quote of the day, but it's just such a great segment. Why not do it twice?
True. Let's get into it.
Yeah, I mean, what else is there to say? This is the funniest part of the entire series. I mean, it's sad too, but in the moment, it's so funny. We were cracking up.
I couldn't stop laughing.
Reiner starts off by saying that everyone over there was a savage, heartless devil. That one of them, get this, had the nerve to start eating a potato in training camp. He says that they stole it because it looked tasty. And when they realized the error of their ways, they tried to share it, but it wasn't even close to half. When he said that, I thought we were like watching some joke on YouTube.
We're watching a fan-made thing.
Oh my god!
Which I will say, it was disrespectful. She tried to do that to our Lord and Savior Keith Savings.
Yeah, because it wasn't half. He's right. I mean, he's right.
Yeah.
He said because of this, he says they're truly beyond all help. Oh man, so good. So then you guys gotta kind of help us with these parts. He says there was an idiot who forgot why he went to the bathroom. Wait.
I don't remember this.
I don't remember it either. What? We went through every line by line. I can't in these podcasts, and I don't remember this.
And I'm sure it's a scene that was definitely there if you mentioned it.
So help us figure out that one.
We need some feedback on that.
There was an insincere jerk who only thought about himself. We figured this has got to be like early stage of Jean.
Early Jean, yep.
Because that was definitely what he was all about, going to the military police. That's all he was doing, and then just had a change of heart. There was an uptight oaf who only cared what others thought. And so here's the thing. We're thinking all of these, like, it's just kind of common sense. We're thinking he's talking about our main group, so we're trying to put these pieces together. The only, like, Connie, maybe,
but maybe this is also... I don't know. That one gets me. I don't know that
you guys got to help us with that one. You initially said Aaron, but then we went on and be like, no, this one's definitely Aaron.
Yeah.
A single-minded fool who charged ahead and the chumps who followed him. And he ties it all off with, my days there were truly hell.
Aaron just topped it off for him.
So the wind starts blowing, and Reiner kind of snaps out of it.
Are we in a goddamn horror movie right here?
I know.
The look on his mom's face and the shutters shutting?
Well, yeah. She wasn't looking like that because of the shutters, though. Reiner snapped out into a room where everyone is looking at him going, what the fuck? And Gabby, after hearing all this, is like, well, they're worse people than that, right? Surely they did more bad things than just eat potatoes,
yeah,
right?
because he mentions that there was all different types of people.
She's just like, wait, that stuff you were talking about didn't seem that bad. Surely they're bad, right?
They're devils, right?
She's kind of freaking out, like, wait.
You're telling me we've called these people devils for all this time and they're not even devils?
I've been brought up this whole time to think about slaughtering all those people, and you're saying, yeah, they eat potatoes?
And
when
they give less than half to other people?
They eat potatoes when it's not necessarily appropriate to eat potatoes? But Reiner's mom, she's all about this honorary Marleyan life, and she assures Gabby that, yeah, those people over there, they suck. The ones who fled to the island deserve to be punished.
And she says they abandoned him. And this is where I do kind of agree with some of these Eldians on this island. They feel like they were abandoned and left to be in these internment zones, and it's not fair.
Yeah, and how could you not feel that way? I see where they're coming from.
But after 100 years, you got to understand these people are not the people that abandoned you.
Yeah. So after that scene, we cut to a half a second scene where a guy just jumps off a roof.
And it's not the roof that they were on, right?
At this point, like, it looks like kind of like the same kind of building. I imagine they just have a bunch of buildings that look like this. But yeah, someone had just crawled out the top window, got on the roof, and just jumped off.
And it wasn't that, it was like 15 feet, but it was like, it was the weirdest scene I've ever seen in almost any show.
We had finished laughing at Reiner, and then this scene hit us, and we just like looked at each other to make sure, because it was so quick. We just like
was that real?
We were like, what is going on? When we went back and watched it, we freeze framed, kind of tried to figure out, because there's like a lightning flash right as this guy jumps. Did you make anything of it?
No, just kind of looks like a normal dude.
Looks sort of like
no one we've seen.
So we join, after that bizarre scene, we join Reiner and Gabby. They're taking a walk. Gabby says that Reiner's mom is worried about him and says that he started acting different once he came back from the island. You think?
He looks great, though.
He's still not getting it, though. He says, yeah, her 12-year-old son left and came back a man. So that's just, of course I changed. What's wrong with that? And...
which is crazy that he left as a 12-year-old.
So they keep walking, and we get a group of people who are around this body that just flung himself off the roof. Because at first, when I first saw the scene after it just played, right after that Reiner PTSD thing, I thought Reiner was so messed up that he was literally jumping off roofs and just couldn't die. But think about this, he couldn't die because he wasn't doing any damage to the nape, so he just regened and then just got back up and kept living.
That's true, but that wasn't him because we saw.
Right. Yeah, at first that's what I thought. What you're saying. But they walked by this scene or whatever, and people are gathered, and all we hear them say is that they heard it was a soldier. And so it's just super weird. I don't know if this is just trying to show us how bad these Eldian soldiers really have it. And
this is somebody that tried to commit suicide or something?
Yeah, because if you don't have like a big family around you, how would you not just be like, all right,
exactly,
I'm done with this. So we then have a meeting with Zeke and the Warriors, and Colt also got to attend.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah. And Zeke kind of goes over what we heard about earlier with how strong the weapons are nowadays, how Titans are, kind of being phased out.
Well, is this the, like...
Yeah, go and say, do you have the line? Because I don't have the line.
I don't have the exact line, but he does bring them in the beginning, and he says, I think it was either Colt or Galliard asked him, where's, like, the Marley brass at, like... some of the Marley commanders, because it's just Eldians in here.
Right.
And he says, they're not in this room. It's just us. And then it's kind of like a semi-private meeting.
Yeah, so we'll come back to that, because more on that. And he also is talking just about how the Eldian race is in danger. He says to make sure this doesn't happen, that they need to obtain the founding Titan and the resources on Paradise. And he says that they need to tell the story of how much of a threat that island poses, and to do this, that role will be fulfilled by the Tiber family.
So some people we've never met or heard of.
But this family sounds very intriguing, because the Tiber family is the one that holds the Warhammer Titan.
They hold the Warhammer Titan.
The last Titan.
The last Titan we have not seen besides, a little snippet in the trailer.
Now that is a badass Titan name.
Yeah, it is.
You go from Cart Titan to the Warhammer Titan.
You think that one's more powerful than the Cart Titan?
You think that one's pretty powerful? And so Peak says that apparently the Tiber family has never sent the Warhammer Titan to enemy soil. but that they were influential abroad, which this part got kind of a little confusing. Influential abroad for driving away King Fritz during the Great Titan War, and that the world will listen to them. So I think the way I took it was that this family is just so powerful, has so much say, that they got everyone kind of on board to ship these Eldians away.
Like all the other countries.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of how I took it as well. And it's kind of crazy to me, though, because she says that they've been living in a mansion by themselves, and if they're Eldian, obviously they have to be to wield the Warhammer Titan. How are they living so lavishly in a mansion when all these other Eldians are in internment zones?
Good point.
I don't know.
Yeah, because obviously many years have gone by, so it does make you think that they're Eldian and just keeping this Warhammer Titan in the family somehow. Yeah. Like, perhaps, I guess they could just be taking some Eldians for themselves, but
mating.
We'll just have to see. They just live on a plantation and they've got their own little slaves and they just keep mating them.
Pretty crazy.
Who knows? We're gonna have to see. So Galliard says, okay, never mind, we don't have to. Well, he just talks about how they're living in their big mansions. Why would they come out now and pretend to be the hero?
Yeah.
But Zeke says that the Tybers also are worried about Marley too. Galliard's not real sure. He's kind of being the voice of reason and questioning this plan. But Reiner kind of butts in and says, listen, if they're going to help, he's glad to have them, and that their warrior unit can cooperate with the Tybers.
Which is weird. I guess Marley, saying they had 7 of the 9 under control, maybe they meant, they know the Warhammer Titan's not going to go against them, but they don't necessarily have it under their control as well.
So Zeke goes into saying that there's going to be a festival in Liberio soon, and that VIPs will be there from abroad to hear the Tybers' message that within a year they will control Paradise Island.
So basically, the Tybers are going to announce we're going to send people to Paradise Island and get the Founding Titan back. Is basically what he's saying, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And the fate of Marley and Eldians rely on this plan, so they're really going to hope that it works.
It's almost a do or die situation. If they fail, it's over.
And Zeke is straight up saying that. Like, we saw that earlier with Maggot, where Maggot's like, oh, so in a year you're going to retake the island? And he was like, well, I'm going to try.
He's like, I've only got a year left, so.
So we pan over to a dark room of guys listening to the conversation. So this is, I guess, the Marleyan brass that we were kind of talking about.
They're kind of spying, right?
Hey, guys, turn on a light.
They're spies, bro. They can't have lights on.
What are we doing? This is like they're hearing this from 5 rooms over, but it's like you ever drive and you got the music turned up real loud and then it starts pouring rain and you turn the music down as if that's going to make you drive better.
See better. Let me turn this down so I can see better.
It's like, well, we got to really listen to this. Turn the lights off. So they talk about how Galliard has some complaints, but he always gets the job done, so I guess they're not too worried about that. But Maggot is worried about that one line of Zeke's, is what he said. And I kind of missed this because obviously I wasn't immersed into the episode. But
I was swimming in it. So.
You at this point were full pants off, swinging dick, immersed into the episode.
Oh, yeah.
So go ahead and
I was breaststroking. So basically the first line of what Zeke said is, it's just us in this room. I think what he's saying is...
So here, my question to you was at this point, does Zeke know they're listening or not?
So...
Go and give me your take.
This is my take right here. I think Zeke knows they're listening, so he's not maybe going into full detail. He doesn't tell any of the others that he knows they're listening. He only lets himself know that he knows they're listening, if that makes sense.
It's like a triple switch.
Yeah, it's a triple switch. I think Zeke to me is a genius. I think the fact that he has kept secret about having royal blood to anyone shows how smart this guy is.
It really does show like another level of intelligence, because as we know, he's all in on this Marleyan thing, but yet he still has the wherewithal to not reveal all the information he knows.
Yeah, this guy's a genius. So I think he knows that they're listening, but he doesn't let anyone else know, and he's not giving away too much information to where Marley, while they're listening, they're like, oh fuck, we gotta infiltrate, like we gotta run up on them. they know too much or whatever.
Yeah.
You know? So I just think he's a smart guy, and he's playing his cards close.
Yeah, I thought that was all super interesting and obviously setting up for the rest of the season. So we cut to a scene where Reiner is standing and watching Gabby and Falco spar. This was like throwback for me of Annie kicking Aaron and Reiner's ass.
Yep.
And so just like that, Gabby totally has the upper hand here, throws Falco on his ass.
She just doesn't straddle him like Annie did.
Right. And Reiner's kind of watching, but he's not really paying attention because in his mind, he just asks himself if he's really going back to that island. And end of episode.
Wow. Great episode. A lot of information.
Yeah, I'm digging being over here with the Marlians and the Warriors and stuff like that.
I wouldn't mind a few more episodes without our main characters, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't even know what to expect. I kind of said last episode I thought we'd get back to the group. But once we, again, didn't see them at all, I'm just like letting the waves crash over me. We'll see. Obviously, we got to have this VIP party at Liberio, but with the Tybers, that's really what I'm most intrigued about. I want to see what's going on with them.
You know, maybe when they declare that they're going over to, Paradise. Do they pronounce it Paradise or Paradise?
I
wanted to ask you
usually you're on this one, man. If you got a certain way that you guys prefer us to say it, send us an email because I really don't care.
At thepodcastchronicles@gmail.com.
Nailed it, Chad. And then as far as the feedback and stuff like that, like we said, we got a bunch of new listeners. Please let us know you're listening. We love to hear from you guys. We, as of right now, we definitely respond to everyone we get feedback from just to say, thanks for listening. As far as feedback goes, I had said last week that we could see what kind of feedback we got, and maybe we do like a little episode before this one to just answer questions or predictions. We didn't get enough for that this week. And that's fine. Either way is fine. We actually got more feedback saying that they enjoy. Paris said he enjoyed how quickly we got the episode out.
And our view count was up more than ever.
Well, I mean, we don't have to talk about view counts.
We have to talk about this.
But we are swimming in a...
We are fully immersed in our view count.
Yeah, baby.
Let's go. I did want to talk about this. This is a quick little mention here.
Yeah.
January 3rd. Okay, so that's in... Okay, we're on the 13th.
Yes, it's in January. 2021, yeah.
Is that 3 weeks or 2 weeks from now?
That is...
Help me with my math, Ronnie.
See, you got a laptop now. You don't have that notebook paper, so if you were a good host and you were used to this laptop, you could pull up the calendar and do a little look-see for yourself. I'll let you do that,
because you know how to work computers
better
than I.
That is 3 weeks away.
Okay, 3 weeks away, there will not be an episode airing. I wanted to let you know that. I saw an article that said that they're giving their animators a break, and it's a week off. So we could replace that, that Sunday we could do a different type of episode.
So, okay, that's kind of interesting, yeah. So,
I just thought I'd go ahead.
What day did you say it was?
January the 3rd.
Okay. Yeah, so that would mean that we have 2 more episodes before that.
Right.
All right. Did you have anything else you wanted to say?
Love you guys.
Yeah, if you do like what you're doing, or if you do like what we're doing, you can go and try and negate that really nice 2-star review we got. Give us 5 stars. But we're also not begging you to do it, even though this might come off as we're begging you to do it.
Yeah, and I mean, if you have a comment like that, if you want to make that review, do it. We're not telling you not to. But also send us an email and tell us how shitty we are.
Okay, so basically everything I just said?
Yeah, but you didn't say the tell us how shitty we are part.
But yeah, for some reason you always want... Actually, you know what? I was getting ready to go in on you. I'm not. If you're going to leave us a 1-2-star review, don't hide behind the stars. Email us and we'll have a talk about it, all right?
Or the star.
Huh?
I said or the star. Not you said stars, but I mean you can leave a star if you want.
Well, they're hiding behind the stars.
Okay.
Email us. We'll talk to you about it. Well, you can tell us exactly why we're so shitty, and we can tell you why we think you're wrong.
And we're on Spotify.
Or
we're
why
on
we
Stitcher,
agree.
We're on Apple.
They're listening to it, so you don't need to tell them that.
And YouTube. We're finally uploading back to YouTube, so smash that like button.
God, we got
smash
more viewers.
That sub button.
We're just becoming whores. Usually we don't stretch this part out too long.
And please donate to
this
us.
Podcast has been going on so long. Don't donate to
Venmo
us.
at the
For some reason,
Chronicles.
Chaz always says that. We're done. Thank you. We'll see you next week. I've been Ronnie.
Love you guys. I've been Chazzy.
Peace.
Peace.
Hate when you call yourself Chazzy.